Ballot bag issue. The Postal Service and the Santa Clara County Register of Voters are investigating a potentially problematic discovery. Reports of a bag stuffed with valid, completed Santa Clara County ballots in a ravine in the Santa Cruz Mountains.
Hey, what is up, YouTube fam? Welcome back to another show where it's True Life Investing. I'm John here with some great news for you today. I want to thank you for your love and support for this channel, and thanks to all those who have joined our membership. We do a ton of giveaways right here on this channel. But guys, I've got a question. What is next for stimulus checks after the midterm elections? All that information is right here in this video, as well as we found some very interesting news on video that actually might make you disappointed. So no one likes when things are tampered with. No one likes when things are not done in the right way. Well, these mail-in ballots, there's been some controversy over things that are happening. Now, I know that back in 2020, you and I both saw the videos of suitcases full of mail-in ballots from people that were not even alive. And this whole thing has always been up in the air. That's why they're suing. That's why there's so many things going on with this recounting and making sure everything is like it's supposed to be, when it should go back to the good old days where you have to go in person and you have to vote and you can't do it any other way. I understand that makes it hard for a lot of other people, but there again, there's too many things that could go wrong by mailing it in. And if you don't believe me, then let's take a watch at this video, because this was very shocking.
That ballot bag issue. The Postal Service and the Santa Clara County Register of Voters are investigating a potentially problematic discovery. Reports of a bag stuffed with valid, completed Santa Clara County ballots in a ravine in the Santa Cruz Mountains. In a story you'll see only on NBC Bay Area, our Robert Honda joins us from San Jose to tell us what's being done.
Well, two of the people whose ballots were recovered told us they mailed them off from this post office here on Payne Avenue in West San Jose. Now, we only reported the discovery to the Registrar of Voters and the Postal Service late this afternoon, so those investigations are just getting underway. But this is how it started. Lou and Janet Whitkin made sure they mailed off their ballots early, the Saturday before the election. But here is where it appears their ballots ended up, in a torn bag reportedly discovered off Sugarloaf Road near Highway 17 in the Santa Cruz Mountains.
How? How did it get from the mailbox to Santa Cruz? Just disappointing to me that something could have transpired.
I'm interested in the facts. Wanted to see, well, what was the situation? Was it something that was dropped in transit? You know, what were the circumstances?
Julie Neiman would like to know as well. She tells us she was riding her motorcycle to work when she spotted the torn bag and noticed the ballots. She said she feels like someone was trying to make sure the bag of ballots wouldn't be found.
They were trying to make it look so people wouldn't find them, is the way I saw it. They were dumped over the edge of the road down this deep ravine that goes pretty far, and it's very steep.
The Santa Clara County Registrar of Voters was reluctant to speculate on exactly what happened or how those ballots reportedly ended up in the Santa Cruz Mountains, but closely examined the pictures NBC Bay Area provided.
Well, it appears in the pictures that there are ballots mixed in with non-election material. So with seeing that, you would think this may have come from the postal stream somehow?
Again, both the post office and the registrar are now investigating this incident together. The registrar also wanted to remind voters you can track your ballot by going through its website to make sure your ballot ends up where it's supposed to.
See what I mean? This is very, very shocking. There's no telling how much of this is going on. Now, it doesn't tell us in the video who they're voting for. Now, of course, in this video, it didn't tell us who was actually being voted for, if it was the Republican or Democrats. But the fact that they found a bag full of mail-in ballots, of course, the person over it said, well, there was a lot of other stuff in there too that didn't have nothing to do with the mail-in ballots. And I thought, if I was in her position, I'd say the very exact same thing, but no one's going to know because no one's going to see exactly what's in the bag. But there were some people that actually saw it, and they even said, I don't feel right about this. I feel like there's some things that are going on that shouldn't be going on, and I can promise you that this is not the only place that it's happening. So with this election going the way that it's going, no one ever thought that the Democrats were going to take the lead over the Republicans, and I'm not pulling for one side or the other. I just see how much people were ready for a change, and when all this stuff is transpiring, I'm sure that those mail-in ballots that got lost wasn't the only ones. But moving on to some stimulus check news and things that is going on in this country. Guys, we do a ton of giveaways, which we'll announce more at the end of the video. But yet again, do you remember when Joe Biden said the pandemic was over and pretty much we're done with everything? Well, COVID is still hanging around. In fact, cruise ship with 800 COVID cases docks in Sydney. A holiday cruise ship carrying about 800 passengers with COVID-19 has docked in Sydney, Australia. This is one thing that is very frightening because I am guaranteeing you that those people right there are going to go home to some family members going home, and they got to go eat, they got to get food, they got to get stuff. There's no telling how much of an outbreak that this is about to make happen with 800 people. Can you imagine if they don't really control this, then there's going to be an outbreak where they're not going to be, it's just going to spread all over again. So that's what's very worrying because, you know, COVID is still existent. Back 2 years ago, COVID was the worst thing. I mean, you wouldn't find anybody not sanitizing, washing their hands, wearing gloves, wearing masks, because this thing was literally killing people. And so yet again, it's still real. And hopefully you're taking precaution. I try to keep a bottle of hand sanitizer in my truck at all times just because I'm always trying to make sure I stay sanitized. Now, moving on to some election information, let's dive on the screen so I can show you what's going on. And then we'll dive into what happens with stimulus checks after the midterm elections are over. Senator Rick Scott calls 2022 election complete disappointment. Senator Rick Scott said on Friday that the 2022 midterm elections were a complete disappointment for Republicans, lamenting low voter turnout on election day. Here's what happened to us. Election day, our voters didn't show up. We didn't get enough voters. It was a complete disappointment. And this is something that they were announcing. Where did all this pie in the sky talk about a wave and a tsunami election come from? Because I never saw it. The senator, who also heads the National Republican Senatorial Committee, said that Republicans were trending towards success in the polls leading up to the election, but ultimately the GOP voters did not show up. I think we've got to reflect now what did happen. I think we didn't have enough of a positive message. We said everything about how bad the Biden agenda was, and it's bad. The Democrats are radical, but we didn't have a plan on what we actually stand for. This is something coming from the Republican side, and I get it. You know, this is a thing that is bad for the Republican Party, considering the fact that all they did was show how bad Biden was, agree with how bad he is, how bad our economy is, but what was their plan of action? Not really 100% sure. Again, I don't fall into the either side, Democrats or Republicans. I just remain neutral, and the reason why is because as far as it goes for me on this channel, I just want the best person for the job. So I have some very interesting news and more videos to come later today. But seeing this, that the election was a complete disappointment, and this is why it ties into the mail-in ballots. If you and I both are agreeing on this, smash that like button, let me know, because I know that sometimes things happen behind the scenes that no one wants to shed any light. And it so happened that a lady that was riding down the road happened to see a bag full of mail-in ballots that was thrown off. Like this is crazy how all this is coming up. And then, you know, it's just mind-blowing because you think that there would actually be a better system to make sure that this doesn't happen. But we're living in an era where 2022, we have the most advanced technology and we still can't get this part right. Doesn't make sense one bit. Now, moving on to what I said in the beginning of the video, what's next for stimulus check after midterm results? So stimulus checks may be on the cutting block with the Republican Party poised to win the House of Representatives following Tuesday's midterms. Although a victorious party hasn't been called for either House or Senate, the Republicans have already embraced plans to reduce federal spending. One thing that I've understood about the House and the Senate, one of the major reasons why the Republicans are trying to win this is so that they can control the budget, so that the Biden administration cannot do anything budget-wise unless it agrees with what the Republicans are approving for that budget. You know, and the plans thus far have hinted at cuts to benefits for a range of Americans, including Social Security, Medicare, as well as benefits for retirees, with stimulus checks likely to be added to the list. Now, in saying that, this is where I really want to shed some light for you viewers. When it comes to the Republican Party, there is a budget, and I get that. We can't put ourselves in such a hole that yet the American people are so indebted to other countries that we would literally be at a place where we can't get out. And I get all of that. But I don't fully agree with the Social Security and the Medicare cutting any of that or benefits for retirees. And here's why. It's because Joe Biden pushed that, so the GOP was going to cut this, cut that. And one of the GOP representatives said, we never once said anything about cutting Social Security. We never once said anything about cutting Medicare. I don't know where they're getting all this information, but this is where I really wanted to dive into what's happening with stimulus checks. Well, number one, millions of people, not just thousands, millions of people are depending on a stimulus check. And if that's you, then let us know down in the comments below. But if you're literally depending on this check financially, of course, the one side is going to say, well, the other side is just going to take all that away. When, you know, you've got to really look at the facts and figure out, okay, why are they saying that? Why are they using that against them? So if you don't believe me, here's the video to show you that the GOP never said anything about Social Security or Medicare.
I have no interest in changing the Medicare program. I want to make sure we preserve the benefits of Medicare and Social Security. I don't know one Republican who wants to change that. In my plan, I said we have got to start being honest with the public that what's our plan? Medicare is going bankrupt. Social Security is going bankrupt. Here's what the Democrats did. They just cut $280 billion. Every Democrat that's running right now in the Senate.
See what I'm telling you? And this is why I remain neutral. I do the research because I'm going to be honest. I've heard stuff from both sides that doesn't add up. We know that people were getting stimulus checks of $1,400. However, experts warn that the aid package could be scrapped entirely if the Republicans gain a majority in Congress. And here's where I say this, okay? Number one, the federal government's not doing anything, so I don't know what the GOP can scrap. Number two, it's not like every state is sending out stimulus checks, so I don't see them scrapping hardly any of that just because not every state is doing something. And I mean, what are they going to scrap? So this is, to me, things that sometimes get fabricated in a sense to favor one side over the other. And I'm not here to pick sides. All I'm saying is some things are not right on both sides. So let me know where you fall in between that. But this is the information that we wanted to provide because several people on this channel are waiting and relying on a stimulus check to hit their bank account or hit their mailbox. And if you're one of them, then you understand that this is a very, very important subject, as well as student loans, as well as our inflation, our economy, when prices are going to go back down, when gas prices are going to go back down. And did you know that the border crisis has still not been handled? That there's been an influx of people coming in more than ever just because they know that they're trying to seal everything up and nothing's been done. So let me know down in the comments what you feel is super important when it comes in the direction that our country is going. Guys, I've got so much great videos to come. Stay tuned because you're not going to want to miss them, as well as we do a ton of giveaways right here on this channel. If you want to jump in on the free prize giveaway to win some free money, then follow these steps by liking and subscribing, commenting #1 fan, and then you'll have your chance to win. Your name's getting entered in to a drawing for your chance to win some free money. And if you want to join in on our movie quote line, you enjoyed that, then follow these steps, letting us know that you love movies and guessing the movie based off the movie quote, which is this.
You're talking to my guy all wrong. It's the wrong tone. Do it again. I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron.
Just a little bit of laughing giggles, guys. Movie from the 90s. One of my favorite movies. And yet again, people have been getting it. Some people have been getting really close. But it's been a little bit of fun. And if you want to jump in and win some free just gift cards, then that is how you can do that. Your name will be entered into a drawing to be revealed on the 22nd for both giveaways. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos to come. And until next time, I'm John Muro. Peace.